Good morning. I wish to call to order the May 3rd meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. I will note for the record that Commissioner Thomas and I are present at the meeting. Please let me know if Commissioner Jones is on as a panelist. I don't see her as an attendee. I'm not sure she's able to make it today. And with that, we'll go ahead and go to the Commissioner's statement.
Good morning. We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC.
Thank you. And we now have a couple of proclamations. Would you like to go first, Commissioner Thomas?
This first proclamation is in recognition of National Correctional Officers and Employees Week. Whereas correctional employees protect public safety by supervising and rehabilitating those convicted of crimes in state and local correctional facilities, fulfilling the demands of the dangerous and often thankless job night and day, every day of the year, and correctional staff are professionals functioning in a myriad of valuable roles, including custody, offender medical and mental health care, education, the treatment of substance use disorders, religious services, transitional services, and a variety of other occupations. And the highest degree of professionalism is developed and advanced through continual skills improvement and specialized training throughout the year. This vital work is performed by correctional staff who dedicate themselves to serve the citizens of this great state and this county. Indiana correctional employees have worked toward the development of one of the best correctional systems in the nation. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners do hereby recognize the week of May 7th to 13th, 2023 as National Correctional Officers and Employees Week.
Thank you. And then we also have a proclamation in recognition of Police Week, which is actually a bit different. So it's Police Week in Monroe County, whereas there are over 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the 46 dedicated members of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and 12 volunteers in the Sheriff's Reserve. And since the first recorded death in 1786, over 21,900 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. And we honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers who put themselves in harm's way on a daily basis to protect our communities and safeguard our democracy. And the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. There were 449 officers killed in the line of duty in 2020, 679 officers killed in 2021, and 245 in 2022. And May 15th was proclaimed Peace Officers Memorial Day in 1962 by President Kennedy in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize May 14th through May 20th, 2023 as Police Week in Monroe County and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community. Thank you. So let's move on to department updates. Ms. Kelly, are you here?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. So not too many updates to share today. We are still monitoring the emerging variants of COVID-19. The XBB 1.5 currently accounts for more than 70% of cases in the U.S. The CDC reports that cases of XBB 1.16 and 1.9.1 are increasing. The Public Health Clinic does have the updated COVID-19 boosters available. To schedule an appointment, you can call 812-353-3244.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, Commissioner Thomas?
No questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later. I also believe we have Coroner Stallcup with us? Good morning.
Good morning. So I just wanted to come and give you all an update on, I know opioid crisis has been kind of forefront in the news, and I wanted to give you an update on my office and what we're seeing. Last year in 2022, we had a total of 64 overdose related deaths. 45 of those were directly related to fentanyl. They may have had other substances in their system. However, fentanyl would have been the main one that caused their death. Of those 64, 24 were female, 40 were male. We had a total of 406 deaths that came through my office, whether it be as a phone consult, referral, or actually going out on scene and investigating the death on scene. To put it in contrast, in 2018, we had 28 overdose deaths. 12 of those were fentanyl. So since 2018, you can see the stark contrast between the two numbers. In 2019, it was 26 with 5 containing fentanyl. The big jump happened in 2020 when we went from, in 2019, we had 26 overdose-related deaths to 51. So there was a big jump between 2019 and 2020. It may have been, some of it may have been associated with the pandemic. People were staying home more time on their hands to figure out what they were going to do during the time we were locked down, that kind of situation. People turning to other substances to kind of deal with what was going on in the world, that type of situation. So as I've stated, we have also had an increase in overall calls. In 2018, we had a total of 201 investigated deaths. Last year was 406. So you can see there is a big jump in those numbers. It has steadily climbed through the last 5 years. Currently this year, we've had 16 overdose related deaths that are confirmed, 4 that are pending, and that which would bring our number to 20, which is just horrible that we're seeing that many already, and we're only at the beginning of May. We've had 146 investigated deaths already this year through our office. So I anticipate our number will hit that 400 mark again.
Wow. Commissioner Thomas.
That's, I cannot thank you and your staff enough for the difficult work that you do and the important work that you do. And this really highlights what a significant issue this is in our community, just as it is elsewhere in the country.
Well, and we've heard from others that when somebody overdoses and they're brought back with Narcan, that it often causes some brain damage. And so if you had somebody that's been brought back multiple times, they're suffering from multiple instances, potentially of brain damage. And those are things that you just don't heal from in the same way that a broken bone will heal. I also, you gave a similar presentation to the Substance Use Disorder Awareness Commission about 10 days ago, 12 days ago, and I was surprised by the age range that you gave us. Would you share that with the community too?
Yeah, so it doesn't, substance use doesn't discriminate. It's all ages, socioeconomic, all genders, as you know, female and male. I've given you a contrast with that. Age range is anywhere from as young as 17 to as old as 70. It's anywhere in between. The majority of them fall between the ages of mid-20s to 50, and that's a big, broad range. But if you narrowed it down, you would probably have just as many in their late 20s, 30s as you would in their late 40s, 50s. So it's all over the board. And like I said, it doesn't discriminate. It's throughout. So it's definitely something that is eye-opening when you see these numbers. And just this year alone, in 1 week, we had 4 overdose-related deaths. And, you know, it's sad. It's a lot of, all of these deaths should not be taking place. But I don't have a good answer for how to stop it. We do have more committees in place to get some things going. I know there's the recent team that's been created is the SOFR team, which addresses suicide and substance use, overdose deaths, that type of thing. So, I mean, it is everywhere. It's across the United States. It's not just affecting Monroe County, it's across the United States. Monroe County does seem like it gets pretty hard, but when you go look at, Marion County or any other county, any other of the 92 counties in Monroe County or in Indiana, you will see that it's hitting them just as hard. It's just we have a different population than some of the other smaller counties, so they may not have as many, but it's still a lot for them.
Thank you for sharing this with us today and taking your time away from your other duties. I appreciate you being here with us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Are there any other departments that have an update today? Yes, please.
Just very, very briefly, I hope to try to do this as often as we can.
Great.
Make sure we're trying to keep everybody aware of what's going on in our business. So, we'll start out with the jail population. Today it stands at 191. Those are 34 misdemeanors, 145 felonies, and 12 holds for other counties such as Pearl, out of county, or DOC. So that 12 number, we try to move those very quickly, so we work on those daily. Last Friday, we had the substance use disorder advisory commission came to the jail. I think we had 14 members there, Commissioner.
Well, there was a few beyond our commission, I think, that joined us, yes.
So I felt it was a very, very, very productive tour that we had at the jail. We had some really good discussion. And one of the things that came out of that was a very good discussion with the health department on how maybe we can improve some services there to our, both in the facility and helping us track some health issues that we may or may not be experiencing, but getting out in front of those. So we hope to continue that collaboration discussion with the health department too. We also had a very nice discussion with Commissioner Githens about this opportunity through FSSA for substance abuse. So we look forward to continue working with you on that too. So one of the things that we highlighted in that tour, and I think we try to continue to do, is how we're updating the facility itself. But then there's a second part of that we started on this week and will continue into the coming weeks, is that once you update the facility and sanitize it and make it more, I guess, try to improve the conditions, the living conditions themselves, that environment is important. But there's also a second side of that, is the resident themselves. So I don't know if you noticed or not, but I noticed it immediately when I got here, the attire that we have them in. They're old, they're clean, but they don't look clean. They've been used over and over and over. As you can imagine, if you're wearing the same set of clothes, they're in use 365 days a year. So the initiative that Commander Gibbons started actually this week is we're going to buy purchase all new jumpsuits for every inmate in that facility, and of course we'll stock up for additionals, new blankets. Some of those blankets are getting, they're used a lot. They're getting pretty ratty looking, so we're going to purchase all new blankets. We're going to provide undergarments for every inmate in there, and every inmate coming in. Undergarments, socks, a t-shirt, and bras and things like that. So we're gonna move towards how we make the conditions we've already started working on, but how we approach the resident themselves and do those little things that we think we can do to at least try to make that as tenable as possible while they're there. So we're also looking at a new type of sleeping model, one that's more durable and one that's more comfortable. I'll provide you with more information of that as we come along. And then our inmate workers, I think you saw those while you were there. They're doing tremendous work. We're halfway through those blocks. So what we want to do for them is we're gonna try to put them in some type of a uniform that will give them a little bit something to look to, a little bit of pride. Right now they're wearing their own shoes. We're gonna get shoes for them that we're gonna provide for them. And again, I don't know what that's gonna look like yet, but Kyle's a pretty imaginative guy, so he'll come up with something. But I just wanted to kind of give the heads up that that's what we're looking for the inmate workers. So that's just a little 5-minute update on what we're looking at, what we're trying to do, and we'll continue to try to move forward with and try to be innovative with our initiatives there in the facility. You have any questions?
No, I appreciate the update, and we saw, I know in Arizona, we saw that inmates were provided with different color jumpsuits, typically to denote trustees versus
Yes.
non-workers, and
Yes.
yeah, so there are ways to do that, and I appreciate the thought that's going into this. I think it's very important, and it's something that can carry to the next facility, right? So it's an
Yes.
investment that's going to be longer lasting. So I appreciate that.
And we've been talking about, closely with your office, about making differences now, that we don't have to wait
Yes.
for
That's right.
things for a new building,
Absolutely.
that we want to be doing things as quickly as we can on all fronts.
Yeah, and part of the problem that we're trying to avoid is when you get satisfied with the status quo, you stop moving forward. And those are things that we sit down and we discuss, and we try to truly think about what's in front of us and what's working, what's not working. But it doesn't stop there. It's the philosophy of continuous improvement. What can we do every day, small or large, to make it better than it is? And that philosophy keeps you from accepting the status quo. Because I don't care how good you are at something, you can always do better if you think about it and examine it and are truthful with yourself about how you can be better. So that's, it's just what we try to do. We're not perfect at it. We never will be perfect at it, but we're trying to. So
I certainly appreciate all the innovations and
Okay.
the movement that's there.
Yeah, look forward to the next one.
Okay,
There's a challenge, right?
we'll try.
Thank you.
Hopefully I won't come up here and have nothing to say, but we appreciate the opportunity though.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Is there any other department that has an update for us? Seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. This is for items that are not on the agenda. Commenters are limited to 3 minutes, please. And if you have something that you wish to share with us, please give us your name and whether or not you're a Monroe County resident. I see Mr. Shelton has his hand raised on Zoom. Could we please allow him to speak?
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Shelton with the Chamber, speaking to you one more time about the upcoming spring CASA training. It will be from the 22nd of May through 14th of June, but we just have a few more days for people to consider it and get an application in. The applications are due on the 5th, so you just got a couple days. You can go to monroecountycasa.org, click on the volunteer link, and you can find the opportunity to fill out the application online and submit it. We really need people to think about this and to step forward. We've got some 30 children typically who we don't have a volunteer to assign to their case. And then just for folks who aren't aware, CASAs are court-appointed special advocates. They're volunteers who are trained by the CASA program, as in the training that will be starting here in a couple weeks. And then are sworn in by Judge Harvey and serve as court officers in effect, and they serve as the eyes and ears of the court. So their job is to help Judge Harvey know how the child's doing or children are doing, how their parents are doing on the things they've been told they need to do in order to be reunited with their children. And so it's a very important job. It's very satisfying, especially when you get to the end of a case and you've gotten the children or child back into a permanent, loving situation, either because their parents have been able to get their lives straightened out or because the children have been adopted. So please think about it. Please hurry up and get in an application. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Is there anyone else who has public comment they wish to make? I see we have Council Member Hawk with us. Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to comment just a bit about the bill that many of us were looking at, thinking it was going to assist us with the jail situation. I believe that's House Bill 106. And when we started reading what actually passed, it appeared that they were just saying the money is only going to be available to build, to construct, or renovate a facility. And I saw absolutely nothing that said, and this is where you're going to get assistance in operational cost. So and we would be required to cover multiple counties. So I heard one council member say, well, it's better than nothing. And I want to assure you that we must make sure we understand the finances of it before we jump in to say, yes, we will do that, because we want to make sure we can take care of our own, and we do not have the extra finances unless there is some way to cover operational costs to bring in all of the other counties into us. So I will be attending a meeting tomorrow with the Indiana County Council Legislative Group, and we're going to be going over some of these finances, because I'm very concerned that people believe we have an opportunity that I'm not thrilled with. I mean, the state said 10 million for the entire state to, and yet each county that would want to do it could not get more than 2.5 million. Well, that works out to be 4 counties. So that there's a lot left to be discussed. Thank you for letting me speak on this.
And I'd like to add just one thing. Councilmember Iverson and I were looking into some of the things, and to build a 50-bed treatment facility would cost us probably $25 million. And that doesn't include acquisition for the land and things like that. And so this, even if we were to one of the 4 counties to get the 2.5 million, that's a drop in the bucket for what would be needed to build anything. I don't know what the thinking was that went behind the creation of this bill, but it's certainly not going to change things very much around the state, I don't think.
Well, and Commissioner, I would like to add that I do not believe it says at all that the other counties that you're serving will have an opportunity to get the 2.5 million. It's only the county that accepts this and moves forward with the facility.
Right. Yes.
And it doesn't say that the other counties, let's say if we said we were going to cover Greene County and Lawrence County, they don't all get the 2.5 million.
Right.
It's only the Monroe County.
Right. Right. I look forward to hearing what you learn tomorrow and what kind of lobbying you're able to do. Did you have a comment, Commissioner Thomas? I mean, it's unusual for us to have this dialogue. But
It's just, it is just appalling that they think that amount of money is going to make a difference without any operations, without enough money to build even. It's just not enough, so.
well, and the kind of the sense that I get is that they feel like they're doing something really novel. And I would remind people that there used to be a whole network of mental health hospitals around our state that were closed down. And that cost a good bit more at the time to operate those. So the legislature took a real step back many years ago, and now they're trying to act as though this is new and novel. And it's a little bit hard to stomach as somebody that's a longtime Hoosier.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And the Senate Bill 4 requires the county commissioners to sign to say they want to be participating in that Senate bill of $4 for our health department. So a lot of that is something that you folks will have to understand the money and decide whether or not you want to move forward. I'm wondering if we're going to have the same problem there.
Thank you, Councilmember Hawk. Is there anyone else that wishes to make public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the minutes.
I move approval of the minutes for April 26, 2023.
Second. Did you have any corrections or
None.
comments? I didn't either. So call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
I move approval of the claims docket, accounts payable May 3rd, 2023, and payroll May 5th, 2023.
Second, and we have Ms. Gregory with us again. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. The accounts payable claims docket for today, May 3rd, 2023, totals $1,986.79. The payroll docket for May 5, 2023, totals $1,938,412.94. $1,366,847.43 make up direct costs, while $571,565.51 make up the indirect.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, a call for a vote on approval of the claims docket. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. I will note for the record that there are no reports this week. Let's move on to new business.
I move approval of a proposal from Elite Electric LLC for replacement of lighting in the jail recreation area. Fund name 2022 GEO Fund number 4815 in the amount of $3,000.
I'll second, and we have Mr. Kreider here with us.
Good morning, Commissioners. Richard Kreider, Facilities and Fleet. This request is to accept the proposal submitted by Elite Electric LLC in the amount of $3,000 to supply and install 6 new LED light fixtures with passive sensors inside the indoor recreational area. The current fixtures will be removed. They either do not work or become dim while energized, creating safety and operation issues for multiple users.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
None, thank you.
Well, having observed that last Friday firsthand, I was able to observe that about half the lights weren't on, probably because they aren't working. And that facility is used not only for indoor recreation, but it's where folks get their hair cut, it turns out. So it's used for multiple things. I don't have any other questions or comments. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, call for a vote on the Elite Electric LLC replacement of lighting in the jail recreation area. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Mr. Kreider.
Thank you.
Next item.
I move approval of Health Fair Retreat at Bradford Woods. Fund name, annual survey, fund number 8114, an amount not to exceed $1,000.
I'll second, and we have Ms. Kelly here with us again. Good morning again.
Yes, hello again. So this request is just for approval. This is a service agreement of space that we're looking at Bradford Woods to host a health department fair and retreat. So some of the ideas that we are currently looking into coordinating for all employees is Narcan training, CPR training, our sharps disposal and pickup training, as well as having lunch and just an all-day event to sort of be able to get away from the day-to-day department activities and refocus on our mission and get to know one another better. And it's $375, and I don't think I have anything else specifically to share unless you have questions.
Mr. Thomas.
All right, so this is funded by the Indiana Department of Health. to benefit the health department workforce. So I think it's an interesting idea.
Right, this is not coming out of county coffers.
Right.
Yes, so anything that enhances the workplace, I think, is important, and people get to start to talk about what their colleagues do, in fact, so, yes. So is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the health fair and retreat at Bradford Woods contract signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Next item.
I move approval of RICO copier lease agreement, fund name Cumulative Capital Development Fund, fund number 1138, in the amount of $2,193.16.
Second, and we have Mr. Crone here with us. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Greg Cron, Technical Services Department. Late last year, we signed an agreement with RICO for 35 copiers to get them off a fair market value contract and put them on 12-month terms where we get to buy out at the end of the terms for $1. This copier here that's on this list is another one of those that has come up that qualifies for that program, so we can get it off the fair market value contract, get it on this 12-month refi, and get the dollar buyout. The savings is minimal. It's only about $723 worth of savings, but the big advantage there is we will actually own the machine at the end of 12 months to do with what we choose at that point. So.
Comments or questions, Commissioner Thomas?
Sounds good, thank you.
Well, and I would note that during the time of this contract, that also takes care of the toner and
Correct.
any kind of
the service and maintenance agreement, all that stays the same terms throughout the duration of that 12 months. That's correct.
Right. Is there any comment or questions from anyone? Seeing none, I call for a vote on the RICO copier lease agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Mr. Crone. Next item.
I move approval of an agreement with Bledsoe Reeder Cooper James service agreement, fund name 2022 GO Bond, fund number 4815, an amount not to exceed $62,615.
Second, and we have Ms. Whitmer here with us. Good morning.
Good morning. We're actually very excited about this project. It'll facilitate the design and everything of our new restroom. Utilities, we're taking care of drainage. We have to demo the old building, which is in a floodplain. It'll improve the restrooms to flush toilets, running water for the sink so you can wash your hands. Right now it's a pit toilet, no running water in a floodplain. So this will be a tremendous asset to this park.
Thank you, Ms. Whitmer. Sorry. Commissioner Thomas, any comments or
No, I'm
questions?
glad this project's moving forward, and this is just part of it, but it's so expensive because of the drainage issues in the floodplain. Yeah.
Well, the drainage issue, and also it's a commercial septic system we're putting in. It has to go through the state of Indiana, it has to go Monroe County Health Department. It's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
Right. But hopefully this will get a lot more people out to the Flatwoods Park, which is on the, for those that aren't aware, is on the west side of the county. So look forward to have seen those upgrades. I regularly attend, well, I sometimes attend the Parks Board meetings, and so I've heard about this and seen some of the sketches and stuff. So I really appreciate this. Is there anyone who wishes to make a comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on the Bledsoe Reeder Cooper James Service Agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
I move approval of the service agreement with Graber Post Buildings, Inc., fund names County General and non-reverting, fund numbers 1178 and 1179, in an amount not to exceed $36,684.04.
Second, and again, we have Ms. Whitmer.
Yes, the actual maintenance staff is very excited about this particular service agreement. The building is 25 years old, this section. We have water coming into the facility. It needs a new roof, we'll fix the water leaks, new gutters. And while we're also doing this, we need a new commercial garage door, a chain hose, an automatic opener. So we do not need to use our skid steer lift to open the door.
It's not what the skid steer lift was designed for, right?
No, it's not.
Questions or comments, Commissioner Thomas? And because we've been out at some of the openings, like with the Cars Farm Greenway Extension and things like that, we've gotten to know your staff. And so I appreciate the fact that this would make life both simpler and safer for them.
It will.
Yes. Yes, much safer. Yes, yes. Are there questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, call for a vote on the Graber Post Buildings, Inc. service agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Ms. Whitmer.
Thank you.
Next item.
I move approval of an agreement. This is a 2023 McKinney Climate Fellow Program Collaboration Agreement, fund name Energy Conservation Non-Reverting, fund number 4919, in amount not to exceed $10,000.
Second, and I believe we have Councilmember Iverson here to talk with us about this.
Thank you, commissioners, and we're truly sorry that Commissioner Jones could not be here today. She's worked very hard on this, and certainly want to recognize her hard work on this collaboration agreement between the trustees of Indiana University and their Environmental Resilience Institute and Monroe County. What this agreement does is it allows us to be part of a resilience cohort with a number of other communities working on improving our resilience measures, and also bringing on a McKinney Climate Fellow. And that fellow is on Zoom today, and I'd like to ask your permission if we could promote that individual. Haider Atiq is on Zoom, if we could promote him. And we also have Therese Dureau of the Environmental Resilience Institute on Zoom as well. And commissioners, I wanted to introduce Nolan Hendon of the Environmental Commission. He's currently president. Nolan, did you want to talk a little bit about this program?
Sure, yeah, so the been hosting climate fellows and climate cohorts for some years now with different entities around the state. This is the first year that Monroe County would be participating in it, but they've had a lot of good results with other communities they've worked with, and we're really looking forward to it. This year their focus is specifically on doing resilience planning around climate. And so yeah, the term for this would go through August, with the possibility to extend our fellow throughout the rest of the school year as well, if both parties agree.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you have any questions for us or for Indiana University staff or for the climate fellow, Mr. Haider Atiq, we're happy to take those.
Commissioner Thomas.
So just looking through this contract, so the reason that not to exceed 10,000 was included is to accommodate a potential fall term part-time. Is that why? Because it's not in the contract. Oh, I think you lost.
You may have to push it down.
There we
That
go.
works.
There you
There
go.
we go. The contract lays out a scholarship clause, and the amount is $4,000 for an undergraduate student or $6,000 for a graduate student. Mr. Atiq here is finishing up his graduate work at the O'Neill School. And so we know that we're going to be providing that scholarship. And then part of the cohort also requires us to go out and do listening sessions with the public to talk about issues like that you all have been working on: flooding, high heat days, and how do we protect the community from those impacts.
Okay, so that's why the other 4,000, so that accommodates the.
I can probably speak to this because I'm the one that submitted that amount. And I did it with the presumption that we had the scholarship cost, and then allowing for some additional funding if we needed to, for supplies or for when he's out in the public, or just to give us some flexibility for the fellow.
Okay. And so this is clearly something where, I mean, this is we've done the survey, and we have some highlights and some things we need to work on, as every county does. So is the goal to encourage the cooperative work with others at the resilience planning group, or is it really just to focus on Monroe County alone?
That's a great question. And almost anticipated you would ask that. So I printed off a report that ERI had given to you all on October the 12th. And if you flip to page 8, there are the deliverables. And there's 2 deliverables. One is to do a climate risk and vulnerability assessment for Monroe County, just for Monroe County. And then in the fall is to take the next step, is to work with the climate fellow or whomever at ERI to create a climate adaptation plan to recommend policy, investments, those sorts of things.
Okay. It's so important, and it entails so much more than what people probably imagine it does. And that's the important thing. It involves health, it involves emergency management, planning, stormwater,
soil and water.
Yeah, so many departments of Monroe County government that serves the entire county, including residents of the town of Ellisville and the city of Bloomington. So,
and to that point, we are one of the only counties that have ever been in this cohort. And if you look at the literature on resilience, it's almost entirely focused on cities. And so it's really important that counties do this. We can contribute to the body literature, but I'm talking too much, so.
No, I was just noting that we had a hand raised.
Oh, you took your hand down, is that, okay.
But if you do have technical.
I just wanted to back Peter's statement that Monroe County will be the first county to ever participate in the Indiana Resilience, in our resilience cohort. First county.
Whoa, nice. I think also when I was reading through this that it indicates some of the additional funds would be to provide like a laptop and things like that as well to make this easier to record information.
That's exactly right. So you'll see in the contract that I'll be providing supervision for Mr. Atik, but if you look at Mr. Atik's resume, it's probably the other way around. He has quite an impressive resume, but we didn't want him to just sit in a conference room with a notepad and a pen, and so we are going to be working to make sure he has all the resources he needs to succeed here at Monroe County.
Yep. And we've been in communication as well that he's going to be using that small little conference room off of the council offices, is that correct?
That's correct. So on Fridays, our thoughts, that is right now in the summers, Hader and I will be, Mr. Atik, excuse me, and I will be here in the county building, walking around, talking to department heads, interacting with staff, and having these conversations that are so vital to moving forward. And then ERI will also have all of the climate fellows very busy. You can see there's a boot camp, there's deliverables they need to be doing in addition to this. This is very much an educational opportunity for them to learn how to take what was in the classroom and to apply it in a municipality.
That's great. Well, I look forward to meeting Mr. Atik then. I'll come in on a Friday also.
Be great. It's a great program, so I appreciate everybody working together on it.
Yeah, we've got a lot to work toward. So thank you for being here today. Is there any public comment on this? Well, I look forward to getting this program started. And with that, call for a vote on the 2023 McKinney Climate Fellow Program Collaboration Agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Sorry, too many pages today. And my thumbs aren't working. Okay, next item, please.
I move approval of agreement with Bucket of Suds. It's a service agreement, fund name, lit special purpose, fund number 1114 in the amount of $975 quarterly.
I'll second, and we have Ms. Schmidt here today to talk to us. Good morning.
Hi, so I'm here from the Youth Services Bureau to request approval for this service agreement with an external cleaning company. Currently, the one that we use and typically the county uses with ASI is outside of the scope of what they're able to do. So this would be quarterly deep cleans inside the emergency and runaway shelter, and also to assist us in maintaining compliance with our licensure and grant obligations.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
Yep, good idea.
And I will note for the record that I was in touch with Ms. Schmidt and about what all that entailed. She gave me a very detailed list of the items that would be included here. And so I have a question for Mr. Cockrell. Should that list be included as an addendum to the contract? It was in the contract?
Well, the contract references Exhibit A, and I think what you're talking about is that Exhibit A. It's not in the packet, but it is in existence.
Correct.
It is in existence?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it'll be with what we sign then later? Okay, all right. Okay, that's good.
It looks like it was, the page that it would be on is blank on our packet.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't just completely crazy.
Nope.
Okay,
I made that same note.
well, that's pretty.
Oh, A and G.
Okay, is there any public comment on this item? See none, I call for a vote on the agreement with Bucket of Sud Service. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
I move approval of an agreement with Monroe County Convention Center for the Monroe County Childhood Conditions Summit, MC3. Fund name Lit Special Purpose, fund number 1114, in the amount of $1,800.
Second, and again, we have Ms. Schmidt with us.
Yes, thank you. So this is to approve the service agreement, like you said, with the Monroe County Convention Center. This will be just like a placeholder for that event. We have secured the date, and this will allow us to pay that deposit to be able to provide our 7th annual MC3 Summit to Monroe County and the residents here.
Thank you. Comments or questions? None. I've attended a couple of the summits and appreciate what you're doing and the kinds of education that goes on throughout the community in terms of what we're doing, what our needs are. And you've even had students involved in this at times, I know.
Yes, yeah, thank you. It's a lot of work.
Well, I mean, like student panels and things like that. So.
Yeah, we were able to get some kind of local MCCSC and RBB kids to provide some of those panels and workshops last year and the year before, so that was great.
Yes, really appreciate that. Is there any public comment on this question? Seeing none, call for a vote on the Monroe County Childhood Conditions Summit agreement with the Convention Center. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Ms. Schmidt. Next item.
I move approval of ordinance 2023-12, which is an amendment to Chapter 460 of the Monroe County Code for the Traffic Commission.
Second, and we have Mr. Baker here to talk with us about this.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here for the Highway Department and Traffic Commission to present proposed amendments recommended to you all of Chapter 460 of the Monroe County Code. Chapter 460 is the creating legislation of the Traffic Commission. It also establishes the membership and internal governance of the Traffic Commission, and also enumerates the duties of the Traffic Commission. The Highway Department and the Traffic Commission recommend amendment to Chapter 460 to add some annual procedures for the Traffic Commission, the appointment of, specifically the appointment of its chair and vice chair, and other matters concerning internal governance of the Traffic Commission. Also proposed is amendment to Section 460-3, which enumerates the duties of the Traffic Commission. As the ordinance is currently written, five duties are enumerated. However, in fact, the duties of the Traffic Commission, which are set forth in Indiana Code chapters titles 9-20 and 9-21, provide or proscribe several other duties. So those, the five that are enumerated, do not capture in toto the duties of the Traffic Commission. The proposed amendment is to delete those five enumerated duties and simply make reference to Title IX, which will capture, more fully capture the Traffic Commission's duties. Also added is a special events permit requirement that would be codified at section 460-4. To this point in time, special events have been dealt with in a rather formal but informal way. Hilly 100 is a pretty good example where the organizers of that event each year have simply come to the Traffic Commission to express their intent to hold the event again and present the details of the event to the Traffic Commission and for approval. The section 460-4 will formalize that previously rather informal but formal process into Chapter 460, and it will also provide a form application for special event organizers to fill out and file with the Highway Department for Traffic Commission review. I've attached the proposed amendments to Chapter 460, and I've also, as Exhibit A, and have attached the special events application as Exhibit B for your consideration. I'll answer any questions you have.
Commissioner Thomas.
No, I appreciate the work that went into this, and it's really important to have a procedure and the policy in place. So thank you for that.
I'll note for the record also that for some of these special events, people have to apply at least 90 days in advance. This is not something that can come to you a week or two in advance and get taken care of. So that's important for the public, I think, to know. Also, you and I were in touch that we will update the names on the forms, right?
I did do that.
Oh, okay. It doesn't show up in our packet.
It is now current. Thank you. Thank you for the catch.
You all think I don't read these, but yes. Okay. Is there any public comment on the changes to the traffic code? This would be ordinance 2023-12. Seeing none, either on Zoom or here in the Nat U Hill room, I'll call for a vote on ordinance 2023-12, Monroe County Code Amendment to Chapter 460, Traffic Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Ms. Baker.
Thank you.
Next item.
I move approval of ordinance 2023-13 to amend Monroe County Code Chapter 520 regarding the Human Rights Commission.
Second, Mr. Cockrell.
Yes, the comments we'll give this one will also qualify for the next agenda item, so I just kind of want to clarify that unless you want me to speak twice of this. The purpose behind this was, and what this does is it creates a unified human rights commission with the city of Wilmington and Monroe County to oversee the human rights items. The reason that this change is brought to you and the justification for it is really twofold. One is with human rights, it doesn't really matter where you live, they're the same. A lot of times, and particularly when I started here, I dealt with the animal management ordinances, and they had to be different because there are different animal issues outside the city limits as opposed to inside, livestock being the primary example. But there really doesn't have that kind of segregation with the importance of these issues or how they should be handled. So we wanted to have a uniformity to how those are reviewed within the city and the county. The second is, and I think both Human Rights Commission may express this, but certainly when I was handling the Human Rights Commission, there was a concern that there wasn't enough public outreach and that people didn't know what everything was, what their rights were and things like that. Joining this and combining these resources should lead to more outreach and better education of the public so that the public can make human rights complaints and know where to go In addition, we would get complaints that belong to the cities and the cities vice versa. And so I think just clarifying it that this is how it is, because we're dealing with a population that may not reach out twice, right? They may reach out to one and get told, oh, you're at the wrong spot, and then just not follow up and go to the right spot. So we want to make it as uniform and easy for the people making the complaints as possible. As far as the ordinance itself, I don't think you'll see a whole lot of changes from what we had in ours when we originally crafted our human rights ordinance. It was based with a lot of similar language and exact same concepts as the city for the purpose that there really shouldn't be a difference. And so this chapter will mirror what the city will approve in there, so that the Human Rights Commission would have one set of rules to look at, and all their policies would be equally applicable to both. Any changes to this would be most likely at the recommendation of the Human Rights Commissions. I suppose that the county and the city could see something that bypasses that product or that path, but I think that's what's contemplated, is that any necessary changes with this would be recommended by the Joint Commission to both the city and the county. So essentially, this is a continuation of our current program, just with the city managing it and having combined resources so we can do a lot more outreach. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Commissioner Thomas.
I'm kind of combining this with the next item with this question, but I hope that's okay. On the one hand, this is an example of how the county and the city can work together, and I think animal management's another good example of that. But one of the things that needs, I think, to be clarified and just specified is that there's going to be just 2 appointments coming from Monroe County Commissioners to this board, that it's going to have 9 members. We get 2 appointments, yet we're paying half the salary, we're paying half the cost. I just want to point that out. I don't think it's fair, I don't think it's right, but at the same time, it's important to do this. So I just want to make that note. I do appreciate all the work that's gone into it. The other thing is that one of our concerns is that the cost will increase over time. And so we've had some internal discussions about, if that cost goes up any higher, that we may just come back to having our own county-based Human Rights Commission and utilize that funding, which is a lot of money. It's more than we pay for anything else for boards and commissions, but we would utilize that funding to hire outside counsel via retainer if we need to. And so to me, this is a year-to-year issue, and we do have that option of canceling because we do want to watch out for the county taxpayers as well.
Point taken. I will also point out that up until this point, it's my understanding that Monroe County is also, in terms of our Human Rights Commission, has overseen any of the complaints that have come through Ellettsville as well. So isn't that correct?
No, the Ellettsville has not opted into allowing the Monroe County Human Rights Commission to oversee items in Ellettsville. I know that Ellettsville has been reached out to about that, and they have not decided to join that program.
Thank you for the correction. Thank you. Is there any comment or from the public? Yes, Mr. MG.
Good morning, Commissioners and distinguished staff. This is Christopher MG from the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce. We are a business membership organization of over 160 such members, and some of them are in the incorporated area of the city, some of them in Ellettsville, and some of them in unincorporated area. I am a Monroe County resident who lives in the city, but goes to the grocery store every day in an incorporated store. So this is an example, as Commissioner Thomas noted, of collaboration, and this is something we've been pushing for quite a bit here from the Chamber's perspective. We had lucky enough to have Commissioner Gibbons in a Working Better Together luncheon talking just about these sort of issues of collaboration within the governments, within government units. And sometimes it's imperfect. I think Commissioner Thomas sort of noted that this is not everything that probably the county wants, but this is something to move forward to sort of give commissions like that where human rights, women's commission, these things don't end at incorporated areas. We sort of see this as a larger community that we need to work together. And there's a frustration on the side of our members, I know. I received several calls and emails after that luncheon of collaboration. We want to see this. This is important things to start off on. It might seem small, but we need to build this. I mean, watch some of the MPO meetings, and I think those could be run smoother. We have a convention center staring us in the face. We have a jail that's going to take cooperation within the units of government. We just need more of this, and it is tough work, and it is things we're going to have to swallow, but it's important that we look forward to doing this. The moment is now. We have to move forward, not next week, but currently. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I did have one question. I may have missed this. When do we make our appointments? Sort of what year, what the time frame is?
It's not on there.
I think you would make your appointment after this has been approved by both the city and the commissioners. Probably after the interlocal's been approved as well by the county council, because without the interlocal being approved by all the bodies, we'll probably have to rewind this and pull it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that I anticipate any problems, but it is their decision to make.
Sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't say how long the terms are in here either, so, or unless I missed it. But I'm assuming they're 4-year terms, but, you know, that was just an assumption I made.
So will that appear in the interlocal then? Mr. Cockrell?
I'm looking through, I don't recall, I thought there was a term in here.
Would we not also, because this is kind of a new group, if you will, have to redo the appointments?
Yeah, we would.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Yes.
Once everybody's approved it, yeah. But in 520-04, it just talks about who makes appointments, and then there's really great detail about processes and all of that, which is incredibly helpful for anybody that's interested. It is really good information to have about what a Human Rights Commission does. But there isn't a term set time, and so I know that, you know, we could do 2 or we could do 4, but I don't know if we need to incorporate that into this ordinance at this time, or if it should wait.
I guess my feeling is, since we want it to mirror, I think we approve this today. I'll reach out to the city and see what they believe the terms are, and it could very well be the same as what we have in our uniform boards and commissions, and it could very well not, and we'll get that clarified prior to appointment.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, good. You always have a calm way forward, it seems, Mr. Cockrell. Is there any public comment on this
All the
item?
answers.
I didn't say he had the answers, I said he had a calm way forward.
He has the answers.
Yeah. Seeing no comment, I call for a vote on ordinance 2023-13 to amend Monroe County Code of Human Rights, Chapter 520. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
I move approval of ordinance 2023-14, the interlocal cooperation with City of Bloomington regarding the Human Rights Commission.
We've got fund name and...
Oh, sorry.
Trying to pay attention.
Fund name, County General Fund Number 1000, in the amount of $35,000.
Second. Mr. Cockrell.
Yeah, this amount has been appropriated by the county council. I think you touched on some things earlier that I think I wanted to reiterate, that this is subject to a 12-month notice for termination. It is also subject to county council appropriation. The first year is $35,000. Essentially, we anticipate that they will have two positions who will be working on these. One, they anticipate 70% of their human rights director to be working on human rights commission business. And so this has us paying half of that 70% or 35% of that cost of that employee. And then another human rights support staff, which they anticipate 60% of their time will be working on this, and therefore we would be paying 30% of their cost employee. They are going to get us that number by September 1st. We've discussed this, and they're going to get it to us as soon as they can, because for our budgeting purposes, because we want to make sure that the county council has all the information they need to make a decision on that appropriation.
Thank you. Commissioner Thomas.
No questions.
I don't either. We've been talking about this for a while now. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, call for a vote on ordinance 2023-14, an interlocal cooperation with the City of Bloomington regarding human rights. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
I move for ratification of the Indiana Youth Services Association addendum to the 2023-2024 Safe Place contract.
Second, Ms. Purdy.
Actually, Ms. Schmidt and I have been communicating via our eyes, and she's going to go ahead and speak to this.
Please. Since I'm here, I'll speak on it.
Good.
So thank you, Commissioners. This is actually just to ratify an addendum to our existing contract with Indiana Youth Services Association that states that we will now be responsible for the Safe Place program implementation and coverage of Brown County. They were previously covered by another organization that has since shut down. And so we will be absorbing that and covering now Monroe, Owen, Greene, and Brown County with our local Safe Place program.
That's awesome. Thank you for stepping in.
Thank you.
Well, and this is not an additional financial burden on Monroe County to do this.
No, they're actually willing to cover the material costs that it takes for us to kind of take over and absorb that county.
Right. Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? I appreciate the work also, and so that I'll call for a vote to ratify the Indiana Youth Services Association addendum to 2023-2024 Safe Place contract. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Ms. Schmidt.
Thank you.
Next item.
I move approval of a services agreement with Butler Freeman Seifert, Inc. for construction inspection. Fund name 2021 GeoBond, fund number 4814, in the amount of $247,000.
Second, Ms. Ridge.
Good morning. So we did RFPs, were advertised for construction inspection services for the Karst Trail Greenway Connector Trail project. All firms were scored, and then we send the review packet to NDOT for their final approval. Butler, Fairman, and Seifert was the highest ranking firm and selected as the firm for the construction inspection services for this project. The project's set right now to go to letting January 2024.
Comments or questions?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for working on this.
And how long is this trail?
How long is it?
Yeah. Okay, approximately.
I can tell you exactly where it goes from. This is actually to tie in, it begins at Liberty Drive and State Road 45. And it will continue north to Constitution. There'll be a traffic signal installed at that intersection. It'll go west over to Curry Pike. There'll be a traffic signal installed at that location to cross Curry Pike, and then it'll go straight west to tie into the trail at the trailhead by the railroad. Yeah. So it'll be the final trail or connection to where the Karst Trail can connect to the B line.
It's great.
When we talk about quality of place, this is part of it.
Yeah.
It truly is part of quality of place.
It's funny, I remember when all this started. just
I'm not
feeling
that
very,
old.
I'm feeling very old. Just impressed with the tenacity of our highway department. Thank you very much.
Well, and our Parks Department as well,
Yes,
to get all this
indeed.
done.
Indeed.
So I don't have any further comments. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I call for a vote on the Butler, Fairman, and Seifert Inc. Construction and Inspection Services Agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item.
I move approval of the NDOT Community Crossing Matching Grant Agreement, fund name Community Crossing Matching Grant, fund number 9106 in the amount of $1 million.
Second, Ms. Ridge.
So we submitted, they do calls for projects twice a year, January and July, for the Community Crossing Matching Grant Program. We submitted paving projects in the January call, and they were awarded in April. So our match will be $1 million, so it's actually $2 million worth of paving. It's 17.2 miles. The roads that are included in that grant is Smithville Road, Gardner Road, Tunnel Road, Roar Road, Wampler Road, Burma Road, DeLapp Road, and Kerr Creek Road. We are opening bids actually tomorrow morning to get these projects awarded and get them moving.
And I will say, I noticed some preparation work, I believe, going on Roar Road.
Yes.
Yeah, I got stuck behind that. But I knew exactly why they were there. And it was like, I wish I could have communicated all the other people who were honking their horns. But so they were working on culverts and preparing the way to ensure that this paving lasts a long time. And I just imagine lots of little hurrahs going up all over the county from residents who live on these roads. So thank you for doing this. And once again, congratulations on getting the full amount from the state of Indiana.
Yeah, I will point out that this is money coming into Monroe County. This is not, well, we will expend it all, but it's, yes.
We have to match.
Yes.
This is our match.
Yes. So, and congratulations. You get every single dime that's available out of the state, so.
Now you remember that when you're going through a construction zone.
I think that's for everybody, not just me, okay? Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I call for a vote on NDOT Community Crossing Matching Grant Agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next item.
I move approval of the IXOYE Trail and Greenways Engineering Inc. Bicentennial Pathway Supplemental Number 9, fund name Cumulative Capital Development Fund, fund number 1138 in the amount of $10,000.
Second, Ms. Ridge again.
So the project is under construction. The project was started in 2009, so I am anticipating this will be the last supplement for this project. It is for design changes. We had to rebid the project due to the first round of bids being unawardable, and additional geotechnical services. So this is to help us get through 2023 to finish this project.
And the cost to Monroe County is actually $2,000.
Correct. It is 80% funded, reimbursable from NDOT.
Yep. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I don't have any either. Any public comment? Seeing none, I call for a vote on the, however you pronounce this, IXOYE Trail and Greenways Engineering Inc. Bicentennial Pathway Supplemental Number 9. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. I will we had a successful election for both Bloomington and, we'll move on to, sorry, we have no appointments today, so we'll move on to announcements. Thank everybody in the city of Bloomington and the town of Ellisville who voted. It was a successful, easy, I guess, for us, election, maybe not so for the election workers. And congratulations to all those who won their primaries. It's a short, compact kind of election race. I will remind folks that there is free COVID-19 testing available still through Monroe County Health Department. You can pick up home tests there, and also at the Public Health Clinic at 333 East Miller Drive. We are still accepting applications for some boards and commissions through our county website at co.monroe.in.us. We continue to have Zoom virtual office hours for the commissioners 6 times a month. You can go to the county calendar and click on the hour, and it should take you there. I had one on Monday, so yeah.
Tomorrow's mine.
You got yours? Your next one's tomorrow? Okay, we each do 2 of these a month, so I don't think it specifies which one you'll get, but we try to make ourselves available. We have blood drives. Next one is next week on Thursday, May the 11th from 10 to 3, and then Friday, May the 12th from 1 to 6. Those are at Ivy Tech in Shreve Hall. And then following that, there'll be one Wednesday, June the 14th from 1 to 6, and Friday, June the 16th from 10 to 3. I'll remind people that you can sign up for the county alert notification system. This is for weather and health-related emergencies. And again, that's at co.monroe.in.us. We have also extended the assistance fund for county residents who need assistance with paying for rent or utilities. If you have such a need, please contact your township trustee. Every resident of Monroe County, whether you live in the non-urbanized area or town of Ellisville, town of Steinsville, or Bloomington, you have a trustee, and the information is again on our website. Final reminder is that May the 13th is the letter carrier food drive for Hoosier Hills Food Bank. You can set your canned and packaged food out by your mailbox, and the letter carriers will pick it up. This is the largest food drive of the year for Hoosier Hills Food Bank. Last year, they provided over 5 tons of food for area residents. The demand is still there. They thought it would go away post-COVID, but it has not. And so kudos to the letter carriers and to the volunteers and staff and the board, the donors, everybody associated with Hoosier Hills Food Bank. They provide a much, much needed service to our community. And I see you are wearing your Hoosier,
camouflaging.
You're camouflaging to remind everyone today
Yes.
of this important event.
Yeah.
Do you have any announcements?
Just a reminder that we do have, there's going to be the Law Enforcement Peace Officer Memorial Monday, May 15th, right here at the courthouse at 11 a.m. So we want to invite the public to attend that as well.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yes, thank you, thank you. We will not be meeting next week. We're going to take a brief hiatus so that the next Board of Commissioner meeting will be on Wednesday, May the 17th here in the Nat U Hill Room. We do have a couple of items on our work agenda. It is now 10:19. What time would you like to return?
It's 11:19.
11:19. Yeah, I'm
like,
looking right at it.
boy.
It's like, we did not do it quite.
Time flies, but boy, that was.
I'm in the Central Time Zone. How's that?
We could do 11:30.
11:30? Okay. All right. Well, then we will adjourn our current meeting and be back here in 10 minutes.
Thank you.